Good morning to you. We are now starting Article 14. We have already seen one part of Article 14, that is, of two components of Article 14. One is equality before law, and the other is equal protection of law. We have completed equality before law and the exceptions thereof. Now we are coming to second part of Article 14, that is equal protection of law. This means right of equal treatment in similar circumstances, both with reference to privileges and liabilities of law. Remember, this implies that if there is any reasonable basis for classification, the legislature can make such classification. In other words, it is only a guarantee of equal treatment under equal circumstances, permitting differential treatment in different circumstances. Remember, equal protection of law does not mean that all laws must be general, and the same law should be applied to all persons under all circumstances. Because all persons are not by very nature in the same position. The varying needs of different classes of persons require different treatment. In fact, identical treatment under unequal circumstances itself is inequality. Therefore, a reasonable classification is not only permissible but also desirable. I will give an example. Suppose you have become a district magistrate, you have been selected and you have been posted as a district magistrate, ADR, and you are going to a village for a visit. There are 100 people waiting to meet you, and they are on the queue. You are taking petition from each of them, and you are waiting, and they are meeting you one by one. You find after 50 members, there is a lady, a pregnant lady with a child on her hand. Now, if you are value neutral, you will not, overturn or you will not bypass the queue and ask her to come. But you have to be valueful. So you will not wait for her turn to come. Either you will go to her or you will call her. That is not a bias. It is a necessity because all are not equal. A handicapped person, physically challenged person, or a pregnant lady, you have to give preference. That is why all people cannot be equal under all circumstances. So permissible classification is permissible. That is why this article is called permissible classification. But problem is that the classification should not be arbitrary. It should be rational basis. There should be some rationale to classify. For example, there are many decided cases by Supreme Court. One of the case, perhaps you remember, Section 303 of Indian Penal Code earlier. If any life convict has committed a murder, and if it is proved, he should be awarded death sentence. It stands to reason because he is already undergoing life sentence, and he should be if he has committed a murder and it has been proved, there is no use of giving him 20 years rigorous imprisonment, etc. So, the section said that he should be awarded death sentence straight away. But Supreme Court said this is not a reasonable classification because you have to decide the case on the basis of the merit of the case. You cannot prejudge. So, a life convict should not be straight away given death sentence even if the murder is proved. That is what Supreme Court said. There is another case, Nargis. In Air India, there are certain rules. If a air hostess has been recruited at the age of 35 or in the event of marriage, if it is held after 4 years, or in the first pregnancy, whichever happens early, she should be retrenched. So a lady has married, and if after marriage, if she becomes pregnant, she should be retrenched, she should be ousted from the employment. Supreme Court held this is an unreasonable classification. Thirdly, very famous case, in Railway Board there is a circular. That is, the married daughter is not entitled for regularization of government accommodation, which is occupied by her father. See, her father is the railway employee. He has a government accommodation. His daughter is married and he has 2 sons, and 2 sons were not looking after him. So he wanted accommodation to be regularized against his daughter's name. But railway said it is not possible because the married daughters are not entitled for regularization of accommodation if the retiring government servant has a son. And Supreme Court held this is unreasonable classification. And they observed, in fact, son is a son only till he gets his wife, and daughter is a daughter for life. So the important point here you should remember is that the classification should be desirable and it is permissible. That is why the Article 14 says permissible classification, because human beings are by nature, they are not equal. They are depending upon the circumstances. If the circumstances vary, the treatment should also vary. Under the law cannot be applied to all people at the same time. In the same law cannot be applied. It's not a universal application of law is not possible. That is what equal protection of law. So remember, we have seen Article 14, which consists of 2 components. One is equality before law and another is equal protection of law. Equal protection of law is American origin. It is not negative, it is positive. And another is equality before law, which is negative in spirit, and it is British origin, English origin, and based on A.V. Dicey. This is what Article 14. Now we will take Article 15. Article 15 is prohibition against discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. As we have already seen, this is available for the citizens, negative in character, injunction on the state. These 3 points straight away you can remember. Second point is, remember, the article has 2 main provisions. 2 main provisions and 4 exceptions. What are the main provisions? Number 1, the main provision prohibit discrimination while the exceptions protect discrimination. Remember, I told you there are 2 main provisions and 4 exceptions. The 2 main provisions prohibit discrimination and 4 exceptions protect discrimination. That is why the Article 15 is called protective discrimination or positive discrimination. Number 1. This point you should remember from the examination point of view. Secondly, The main provisions are: the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. So remember, this is addressed to the state. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. This is a prohibition against the state, injunction to the state, asking the state not to do it. Second is, no citizen shall be on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth be subjected to any liability or any disability or any condition with regard to access to shops, public restaurants, hotels, places of public entertainment, or use of well, or use of tank, or bathing guards, or road, or public resorts, etc., which are maintained wholly or partly out of state funds, or which are dedicated to the public. Two conditions. Number one, which are maintained wholly or partly out of state funds, or which have been dedicated to the public. If these two conditions are satisfied, whether it is well, whether it is bathing guards, or whether it is public restaurant, whether it is hotels, anything it is, you cannot prohibit, no citizen can prevent these people, the category, any person to enter into that. Remember, this is against the individual. First is against the state. Second is against the individual. This is as a result of the traditional, our traditional behavior, which is imbibed in our society, that is linked with untouchability. So these are all the two main provisions. Remember, these two main provisions are prohibition against discrimination on the ground of religion, RRCSP, religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. This is intended to primarily eradicate the abuse of our traditional social system. Remember, these two. Now we are coming to the exceptions. These two provisions, there are four exceptions. Provisions are two, whereas the exceptions are four. First provision, the state can make a special provision. Remember, the state can make a special provision for women and children. Women and children. The state can make a special provision for women and children. Children, it is very clear, because it is too clear to be elaborated. It is not necessary. It is meaningless, because children, it is necessary because of their age. And women, the special provision, state can make a special provision for women, maternity relief, reservation in job, separate compartment, train compartment for ladies, and buses, special buses for the ladies. All these things are exclusively for women. And the Supreme Court said this is not a reservation. You are giving preference to the woman. It is an affirmative action of the state. Underline, affirmative action of the state. Why? Why they are given preference? Because the physical structure and the maternal functions of the females keep them at a disadvantage for their struggle for their sustenance of their livelihood in the gender biased society, whereupon it becomes the duty of the society to promote them. Because the gender dominated society, their physical structure and maternal functions may keep them at a disadvantage in their struggle in the gender biased society, whereupon it becomes the duty of the society to protect them. That is the reason for women and children. The state can make a special provision for the advancement of women and children. This is the first exception. Second exception is, remember, the state can make a special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or SC and ST. Remember, the state can make special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens and for SC and ST. Two qualifying words, socially and educationally backward classes. Remember, they should be socially backward and they should be educationally backward, not economically. Educationally backward and socially backward classes of citizens are SC and ST. Remember, this provision was added through First Amendment Act 1951. This provision was added as a result of First Amendment Act 1951, as a result of, remember, Chenbagam Rajan versus State of Madras case. It is where an admission was, in the medical college, the Chenbagam, the girl did not get the admission because she belonged to the forward caste. Her marks, even though it is more than the scheduled caste candidate, she got more marks than the scheduled caste candidate. Because of the reservation, she did not get. As a result, she filed a petition and the Supreme Court made null and void, null and voided the admission, and as a result, the state's argument is we are implementing the directive principle. But the Supreme Court said where there is a clash between the directive principle and fundamental right prevail over the directive principle. So we cannot approve of the admission. But accordingly, this first amendment was made in First Amendment 1951 was made, incorporating this provision, saying that the state can make a special provision for advancement of socially and educationally backward class of citizens or for SC/ST. Remember, this is the second exception. First two main provisions. First exception is for women and children. Second exception for socially and educationally backward classes and scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, added through First Amendment Act 1951 as a result of Chenbagam Rajan versus State of Madras case. So, two exceptions we have seen. Now the third exception, 93rd Amendment Act 2005. Remember, 93rd Amendment Act 2005 added one more exception. Under this, the state can, by law, make a special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or SC/ST relating to their admission to educational institutions, aided or unaided, other than the minority educational institution covered under Article 30. Remember, this is for admission relating to their admission in the educational institutions, aided or unaided by the state, other than the minority educational institutions mentioned in Article 30. Remember, so first is First Amendment Act, women and children, number one. Number two, First Amendment Act for socially and educationally backward classes. Then 93rd Amendment Act 2005 in respect of the educational institutions other than the minority institutions for admission to educational institution, aided or unaided. Remember, to give effect to this provision, Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Admission Act 2006 was made to provide 27% reservation for OBCs in all central higher education institutions, including IITs and IIMs. In 2008, Supreme Court addressed and ordered the central government to exclude the creamy layers, that is advanced section, from the benefit of reservation. Creamy layer has been defined the sons and daughters of all constitutional authorities, Group A, Group B officers, or colonel in the army or equivalent Navy, Air Force, lawyers, doctors, and in nutshell, any person having an income of 8 lakhs. This is the 93rd Amendment Act 2005, which has been given. Where the state has been empowered to make special provision for the advancement of socially and educationally backward classes and scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in respect of their admission in the education institution, aided or unaided, other than the minority institutions covered under Article 30. So remember, again repeat, first two main provisions. One is addressed to the state, second addressed to the citizens, and four exceptions. Of the four, we have covered three. One is for women and children. Second is Chandragundara Rajan, that's the state of Madras. In this, we have said the common provision for socially and educationally backward classes. Then, exclusively for 93rd Amendment Act 2005 with regard to the admission in the education institutions. These three. Now, fourth one, very important. Fourth one is the 103rd Amendment Act. 103rd Amendment Act 2019. 103rd Amendment Act 2019 brought another amendment. Under this amendment, the state can make a special provision for the advancement of educationally and economically weaker sections. Remember, educationally and economically weaker section, that is EWS. EWS, economically and educationally weaker section of society. It has been made clear with 103rd Amendment 2019, reservation up to 10% for EWS in education institutions and also public employment. Remember, this will be in addition to the existing reservation already available to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and OBCs. Remember, the 10% added together, 50 will become 60. So, the ceiling has been raised from 50% to 60%. Why 50% and to 60%? Supreme Court in the Mandal case have prescribed the ceiling of 50%. So, all reservations put together should not exceed 50%. Already we have exceeded 60, that is in the 69% for Tamil Nadu reservation. That's because that reservation law has been kept in the 9th schedule. It could not be challenged, though it is under review. That is a different issue. So, 103rd Amendment Act brought another amendment under which a state can make special provision for the advancement of educationally and economically weaker section of society. It has been made clear with 103rd Amendment 2019 reservation up to 10% for economically weaker sections in education institution as well as public employment. This will be in addition to the existing reservation and subject to a maximum of 10% of total seats in each category. With this addition of 10%, the total reservation should not exceed 60%. 50 plus 10, that is 60%. Remember, simultaneously, Article 16 has also been modified. Article 16 has also been modified, which we will see in the next class. In addition, remember, most importantly, this article has been amended providing reservation to EWS, that is economically weaker sections. This is to fulfill the commitment of Article 46 in Directive Principle State Policy to promote educational economic interest of economically weaker section. Remember. So, now in nutshell, I repeat, there is a two main provisions under Article 15, two main provision. One is prohibition against discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Second is addressed to the citizens, no liability or no condition with reference to the access to shops, etc. Then four exceptions. First exception is, as I have already told you, women and children. Second exception, socially and educationally backward classes, Chenbagam Dorarajan State of Madras. Third is 103rd Amendment 2005, and fourth is 93rd Amendment 2003, then 103rd Amendment, which we have discussed. So we will see Article 16 in the next class. Thank you.